I really was chasing this girl so freaking hard and I wanted to date her so bad. And she said straight up that she didn't want to date.
Was she down to suck dick though?
Well, yeah, we were having sex and stuff.
She's like, yeah, so like, I don't know. So what happens next? She's like, we go back to my place. I suck your dick. And then like.
She said that?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I know, she was cool, man.
We're going to give some very important advice that could make or break somebody. So be really careful with this one. When it comes to chasing a woman, right? Like romantically chasing.
I thought you were like running down the street.
Like with a knife.
Pursuing a woman. When do you stop? When is it like time to be like, all right, I'm never going to get her. I need to quit.
Never.
And what... And then what's an example of a time that you were chasing a girl like back when you were younger and you gave up?
Damn, that's a good question.
Because like, you know, like when we talk about dating in today's climate and how guys are and how women are, you kind of have to, I feel like the line is in a different position than it was when we were kids or when we were teens. When do you actually go, all right, she's not interested?
Okay, I used to do a lot of improv, as everyone knows. And I met this chick when I was doing improv, and she was a buddy of mine. Yeah. And one day I went to her place, and I met her neighbor who was outside smoking. And I was like, I just thought her neighbor was kind of hot. And I was like, what's up? And like, I was just talking to her and stuff. And like, every time I went over there, I would like hit her neighbor up because her neighbor would like to be outside smoking and stuff. And then eventually I was just like, look, like we should go out sometime. You and me, we should go out.
Her neighbor.
Yeah, her neighbor. And I was like, we should go. I'll take you somewhere, or whatever. And she's like, you know, oh, well, I don't know. And so I kept pursuing her though. Every time I went over there, I was like, let me just take you out. It'll be fun. Like, well, it's not a big deal. We'll just go out. And then I ended up going out with her. Okay. And then on the date, we're just talking and stuff, and I could just tell she wasn't into it. And I was like, shit. I got her all the way at this restaurant, and now I'm like, I really pressure, and like we're here, and I can just tell she's not vibing it. Yeah. Okay. And then so during the date, I was just like, look, I think I just wouldn't give up in a way. I was like, I think I'd be pretty sick for you. Like, I think we have a good time, have a lot of fun or whatever. And then she's like, yeah. So like, I don't know. So what happens next? She's like, we go back to my place. I suck your dick, and then like
She said that?
yeah.
Holy shit.
I know, she was cool, man.
She does improv too.
She was fucking cool, right?
Very forward.
She was like kind of like hot like that. Where like you know, so I go back to your place or go back to my place and I suck your dick, and then like, you know, I just don't think we're gonna date. And I was like,
I like the dick sucking.
I was like, I like the first part. I was like, yeah, I like the first part. But then I really, you know, but then I was like, oh yeah, because I'm kind of a relationship guy, so I was like, okay, yeah. So if we're not gonna date, like, deuces out.
He's like, I'm not going to get the dick suck.
I didn't think I was going to get the dick suck anyway. You know what I mean? I thought...
She's probably just teasing you.
But maybe like after she left, she's like, man, I really want to suck some dick tonight. That sucks.
She's like, I really thought he was... What the fuck is wrong with me?
You gauged it accurately, and then you were okay with the fact that, oh, she's just not into it.
Yeah. It just was you have to take the L and just go like, yeah, she's not vibing this.
But I think even getting to that point where you can catch on that it's not working out, people that ask this question, they tend to obsess, and they're like, they don't want to believe that they probably lost a chance like way long ago. And it's two extremes. It's either that they have such low self-esteem and they think that they're always being rejected and it goes over their head when she's actually pursuing, or they're too obsessive and they want it to be happening. They're so desperate. So there's two ways that this can go. And if you're not socially intelligent, you're not even going to get to that point where you go, I get what's going on. It's cool.
Social intelligence is a big thing.
But I think, so how do you teach that middle ground of like, you can't be too, you know, depressed and thinking that it's not going to work out, but you also can't be too.
I think some people make bitches out to be princesses sometimes when they don't deserve it. You know what I mean? Like, we're like, you make this mythical creature up in your head about how she's the one and we're going to get married one day and we're going to have kids and stuff. And like, she's not giving you much back at all, but you're still built it up because you made her this like mythical creature. And I just think that that's where you fuck up.
I think I've been guilty of that pretty hardcore, but I think like a big part of that is I know today's entertainment and today's movies must be very different because we're from the generation where in every movie that was romantic, the girl couldn't stand the guy in the beginning. Probably 3/4 of the movie, she can't stand this guy, and he has to turn the tide, and that's always the plot. It's never two people that are just interested in each other, and it's simple and consensual, and that's not a good movie. Or it's also not a good movie when the guy gives up. So I think like the fantasy that I built in my head is that is real romance. Real romance is convincing a girl to like you when she doesn't initially.
I actually think I was a product of that, of that kind of romance, and also I've been the retard too.
Yeah.
And then I think now when I look back, because before you'd think, oh yeah, you got to keep pursuing because of all those movies. Yeah. Now with my perspective, having been married and all that stuff, I feel like the most practical and gayest perspective, which is I think people think the girl, they think the girl is the finish line when actually the girl is the starting point of the actual race. And the finish line is like maybe a decade into marriage, right? So I think they place where graduation is at the wrong time. Yeah. So if they place the graduation too soon, what they're trying to do is like, oh, I got to do everything and I'll just keep pursuing over and over. When I realized and look back at all the pursuits I had, anything that was tough, it wasn't natural. And it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
The ones that worked out were the most easiest, smoothest, most organic, and things fell into place. Yep. And then that you started into the starting line of the race. You don't even know it, and then bam, you're already halfway through, almost to the finish line. And that's what I would like. I guess the advice I would give people out there, which is if it already has too much friction, abort. Like what Steve felt. You can already feel the friction. This isn't going, like, it should feel almost so natural that like, oh yeah, we're meant to be together. Because after you guys are together, there's going to be so many more extra fights and stuff that you have to work out anyways.
Yeah.
That you don't want to have 2 layers of difficulty that you're dealing with.
You don't want to convince somebody that they need to like you when you're in something.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt on that date. I was like, oh, this feels like, because it was fun. Like we had flirty banter. But like the step beyond wasn't right.
Because you still have to like win her over and sell yourself.
Yeah, I wasn't. That's like not, like Bart says, it's not easy. So
and that's not authentic when you have to do that.
No, it's not. That's what happened to me with like, I really was chasing this girl so freaking hard and I wanted to date her so bad. And she said straight up, like throughout us, talking, whatever in that phase, that she didn't want to date.
Was she down to suck dick though?
Well, yeah, we were having sex and stuff, but she didn't want to date me, but I was like in love. Like I wanted to be with her. And then it's funny that like, it was the whole thing should have never happened, but it became like, it got to the point where, I was like, fine, you don't want to like date me. And I guess like, it's never going to happen. So then I kind of just detached myself. And then, I had hooked up with this other girl. And then when she had asked me about it and I was like, oh yeah, I thought we weren't going to date. So I just, started dating this other girl. Then she wanted to date me because it's that thing of like, oh, like I wanted to keep him like chasing me.
The rare thing.
Yeah. So I got caught in that. And then we ended up together and it was like the worst relationship of my life. But like, it was one of those things where even if you get the girl you're chasing, the fact that that's a victory could be completely not true because you could just end up in something that you should have never been in the first place. And that's what happens most of the time when you chase too hard, whether you get it or not. Like you should be glad you didn't get it sometimes. Yeah. Like you should be glad you walked away.
The dynamic will remain that way where you're in a relationship and that they're always like on a pedestal. So there's like, if you're chasing, right? And she's kind of like, oh, I'll give him a shot. And then if it never turns into where she's like, oh, I actually love this guy. And it always goes, I guess I'm giving him a shot. Like, it's not going to be a good, loving relationship. The dynamic is always like a weird, she's settling for you.
You also don't always know, like Ryan saying, it's like the grass is always greener. You don't know what it's going to be like. Like I was in love with this chick throughout high school. Like from freshman year till I was a senior, I was in love with the same chick, right? And like I was just infatuated with her obsessed, everything. She was always had a boyfriend, or like it was. I was in a relationship, she's in a relationship, so the timing never worked out. But I remember years later, I'm on the phone with her, and she's getting married, and she's on the phone with me for like 2 hours, just bitching about how the tablecloths and the chargers, which I guess are plates. I didn't know that for a wedding. You're gonna need to know that.
Plate under the plate.
Yeah, plate under the plate. Were all wrong, and they weren't color matched, and it was all fucked up, and she was just yelling at her wedding planner, and she was like venting all this shit to me, and I was like, oh my God, thank God I didn't get with this chick. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, I had like an out of body experience on that phone call where I was like, oh my God, that could have been me, and I'd have been dealing with this shit. Instead, I could just hang up the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just don't know, man.
That's true, because also the attraction that you feel for some women, it's like a chemical reaction that you can't even do anything about. You're just like, oh my God, for some reason, it's like mission start and against your will. And then, like whether you get it or not, it's like you feel like you're going to be so busted about it or broken, but really you just fucking move on.
Well, what was the original question? Was it like, when do you know when to give up? Yeah. Okay. So I would say you got to figure out how much reciprocation you want, because some guys require a lot of attention. Some guys require once a week attention. So figure out what you want out of the relationship, because some women will like you, but they might not give you the attention that you want. So then like you might feel like you're doing too much because you want to talk all day, and maybe they don't, or vice versa. Right. So first and foremost, you got to get with that. And also you got to know what kind of guy you are, because if you're going on 1 date a year because you're an ugly piece of shit and you have no job and you can't really talk to any women, no one's chasing you, a lot of the shit that we're talking about, I don't think it's going to work, because we actually have girls that want to be with us. So that's a huge one. So like if you just a piece of shit loser, you're not going to get a girl to like you.
Damn.
Yeah.
But that's the truth. Like if women don't find you attractive, you never been on a date in 3 years, and then you're fucking trying to chase someone. It's like, no, like clean yourself up, be mediocre, at least, and then be social. Then because the key thing is like understanding the social dynamic of like when men, women, doesn't even matter. You'll start seeing cues of like, oh, they're being nice. They don't actually want to talk to me. And that's true with any gender. Like you'll start to sense the cues. If you don't understand the cues, then you don't know fucking like when to back off. Another thing is like, if they're not fulfilling what you need, like, yeah, I mean, who's to say like you're wanting too much or too less? It's depending on the partner, right? Because when you're with a good partner, they'll give you whatever the fuck you want.
Also, you gotta stop being weird. Like, you ever been at a party with and you meet somebody and like they're talking to you, and you couldn't be looking more in other directions, and they still keep talking to you?
Oh, they can't pick up the cue?
They can't pick up the cue. Like, you can't just be a weirdo who can't pick up cues. Yeah. You got to be able to like, it's like, hey, we've been talking now for like 13 minutes, and like I'm looking at outer space right now, brother. Like it's time to move on from here, but they don't get it.
And that takes practice.
Yeah.
But when people ask this question, is because they're looking for like a objective answer of like, oh, after 5 minutes, do X, Y, Z. But the unfortunate thing is the only way you learn social skills is through trial and error and through getting feedback. But I think the difficult part is like, how do you explain that to someone who don't have really good social cues? And I mean, like, Bart might be a good example. If you really are a fucking Asperger dude, but you've managed to navigate and build friendships and do all that stuff, you might, you like traditionally, if someone is like diagnosed with autism or whatever, it's difficult for you to have human relationships, but you still do it anyway, right? So like, how did you observe these things and go, oh, I'm doing too much, or like I'm pursuing too hard, or like they don't like that?
Well, you do have to crash and burn a couple of times, but then the crashing and burning shows you what is easy. And like, cause you could still, I mean, I've seen fucking homeless people with boyfriends or girlfriends. I'm like, so it's like, but they somehow made it work. And like when the conversation is easy, and then when you like, as you guys get together and you set your first boundary, and that boundary is easy. Cause some people will be like, hey, I actually like, can we not be on our phones? Or there's people like, oh yeah, that's great. Like, let's not be on our phones when we're having dinner or whatever. Like just everything starts moving easy. I think that's when you're like, yeah, you should probably keep pursuing it. But if you could already tell right off the bat the things that you care about are small to them, when the things that are small to them are big to them or nothing to you, it's already not going to work out. So to me, I like abandon as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is still at the chase level though. Yeah. Like this is just like you're not that deep yet. Yeah. How do you know, like I guess maybe this would obviously be today's world. How do you know when it's like right in the initial?
This even goes for with like chasing platonic friends.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in a group of new dudes I met, and if I like say the N word and I say the F word and they're cool with it, I'm like, this is worth moving forward. If they're already appalled, I'm like, there's no way we're gonna be able to go buy one get one free T-bone steaks after.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I think practice makes perfect, and you got to go out there and get burnt.
Yeah. That's true.